Hello, what's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where or when you're listening to this. Welcome to the first ever episode of Second Yellow. Lineup for today, I am joined by Kieran, Candice, Liam, and Stuart as we break down our Premier League all-time 11. By the way, Kieran was very, very late. How? Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to leave a like at the end. Anyway, thank you for joining me, guys. The first ever episode of Second Yellow. I'm joined by Candy Kane, our Alex Ferguson of football. Candy, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi.
And then I'm joined by the one and only X8, X6, aka Pogba, aka the Black Sedan.
What it do, baby?
and
So that's a lot of nicknames.
and also joined by Stuart, aka I'll break your legs, but my back's broken.
Yes, that's correct. How's it going?
So we're gonna bold, as you all know, I put out a couple of polls and to pick your best Premier League 11 of all time, including the best manager of all time, or at least what we saw. So we'll run through our teams, and then afterwards I'll give you the stats, and we'll build a team around what. There's going to be a lot of fights going on, I know, but So, Candy, as being the lady, do you want to start off with your team?
Okay, that's so. I don't really mind which one of the two we go with. I had Schmeichel and I had Czech. So for me, obviously, being the Manchester United fan I am, I always felt that Schmeichel was completely unplayable at his best. 5 Premier League titles, and obviously one is to a lot more. But since we're sticking with Premier League only, his clean sheet ratio wasn't as good as Czech's. I do think he's a better leader, however. So I'm 50-50 at that one. So I'd first rather hear what you guys say, and then that's the only one where I didn't know which one to pick. So
I think that one was an easier decision for me as well, because obviously being a Man United fan too, like obviously you look at Schmeichel and what he's done and the amount of titles he won, but when the moment Czech joined Chelsea, they had this kind of aura around their back line. It was just formidable. Like you couldn't score against them.
I agree.
People used to say kind of the boss of Chelsea was, but he was always one of the main persons behind it. So literally, once he came in, he done that incredible clean sheet record. I think he's still got the best ratio now.
Yeah, he does.
Which is incredible. So I probably would say, well, not even probably, I'd easily probably say Czech as well. Not discrediting the other goalkeepers too. Like, I really love Schmeichel, of course. Even another one, I loved Van der Sar as well.
Yeah, Van der Sar was another one I had, but I also think Czech is. I'm leaning towards Czech, and you're right. He brought a calmness about Chelsea, the calmness that they needed at that time. So okay, I'll go with Czech then.
So
You've convinced me.
No. Czech for me was the number one goalkeeper. I mean, as much as I am not a Chelsea fan or a Man United fan, Schmeichel was a close one. Van der Sar was very close. I think his shot stopping ability and his command of his goal area was
definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Van der Sar was like fine wine.
Yeah, no, Van der Sar was absolutely phenomenal, but I think Schmeichel won what, like 4 or 5 titles?
5.
Okay, which is huge. But he had like the team in front of him.
Czech had the team in front of him too, but
Czech came at the early ages of the Abramovich era. Like
as soon as Czech came, they was winning basically. Yeah, I get you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mentioned it
so Czech for me,
Yeah, I mentioned last week to Stuart when we were talking, and I said like when Czech came there, like he was virtually unknown, and then virtually unknown, and then came into the team and just
he came from home, however you say it in French.
and so that's unanimous decision. Peter Cech going with you want to start with the centre backs. Eggs, you want to kick us off? Give us one of your centre backs that you picked.
This was so tough, and this was so tough. I can't lie to you.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my bias to kick in, but my view on picking centre backs, I felt like centre backs is one of the positions where I couldn't really pick a person individually by themselves. More time, I would rather pick them with a partner because people develop the centre back pairing as partners.
Yeah.
I always thought that some people were so much better with certain individuals. So it was a tight one for me. When I looked at centre backs, I said to me it was gonna be Rio Ferdinand and Vidic, or it's tough, or Rio Ferdinand and Terry.
I had exactly the same too.
Stuart, do you want to go with any of those?
So I was also torn on the centre backs. Being an Arsenal fan myself, obviously Adams came into the fore there, but he didn't play enough in the Premier League, in my opinion, to warrant a spot. So it was between Ferdinand, Vidic, and Terry. I despised Ferdinand, so he was gone very quickly.
Yeah, Stuart hates Rio Ferdinand with a passion. I told him I'm gonna name my first child Rio just to irritate him.
I will look at the kid like he's Brazilian. Like I won't even think of Ferdinand. But no, for me it was Terry was probably my first choice. Again, the longevity of his success in that Chelsea team. Because I mean, like they had all the money in the world. They could have bought any centre back, any player they wanted, and they kept Terry from like a young age, made him captain, and like he is probably the most decorated Chelsea player next to Lampard. And I think that spine of Cech and Terry and Lampard, Drogba, whatever, but Terry was the main thing for me. And I think he's diving in front of Johan Giroud in that FA Cup final against Arsenal, where he stopped the ball, where he was like a flying fish, and he put his body on the line, and he was just the ultimate centre back.
I get it.
I'm not gonna even dispute.
Yeah, I'm not gonna dispute Terry either. I think Terry. With me is Terry. I had also Rio and Vidic because, like Liam said, you centre backs grow as pairs, and I don't think there was a better centre back pairing for a very long time than Rio and Vidic. But Vidic and Terry have similar mentalities, and I didn't want.
Smalling and
I
Jones.
didn't want. Oh yeah, Smalling and Jones is incredible.
Stop it.
They were incredible. But John Terry, I don't like John Terry at all, but he was a leader. He could do anything. And with Rio Ferdinand, I feel he changed the way that the English looked at centre backs. Because for them, a British centre back was hard. You know, Terry Pierce Campbell, it was a defender in England, was seen as this tough man. And then Rio came in and he had this Maldini type of aura around him. He's a ball player.
He could play.
Yeah, he excelled. He drove teams forward. A lot of our attacking options started at Rio Ferdinand. And I love him. I love Rio Ferdinand. So I'm going to pick Rio every single day of the week. And John Terry, even though Rio and John probably don't get along very well these days.
Yeah, they don't.
They would have to play together.
No, I don't think so.
But so I just think Rio changed it. And people like Rice and Stones have said how much they've been influenced by Rio Ferdinand. And he was 34 years old. Ferdinand made the Premier League Player of the Year. I mean, Premier League Team of the Year at 34 years old.
Yeah, but was that 2013 when you guys won your last Premier League title?
But he was quality. Yeah, but he was quality. He kept 11 consecutive clean sheets. Again, it had a lot to do with Vidic as well. But I just feel the fact that he changed the English mentality on centre-backs and defenders so much, I couldn't not pick Rio Ferdinand. He definitely exceeded expectations with the price tag that came with him. And I don't feel it's his fault. I mean, it's not his fault he was that expensive, but he gave back in tenfold. Yeah, he gave back tenfold.
he came from a rival team though, like
and that's
big
what made it
rival
even
team.
better. We got Cantona from Leeds, we got Alan Smith from Leeds, we got Rio Ferdinand from Leeds, and they all built in to Manchester United mentality. Even
But you're
Alan
putting
Smith, who was
Alan
a Yorkshire
Smith in
boy.
that
But I'm just saying in
category?
general.
Alan Smith?
No, but I'm talking about, you want to say he came from Leeds. We got lots of players from Leeds, and they all build into that mentality. So I don't think, I'm gonna go with Rio and Terry. That's just, I'm gonna fight Rio to the death. So
Fair enough.
Well,
fair enough.
we can't say
I'm
we
going
can't say
Terry and
United don't build.
Vidic.
Can't say United don't build stars.
yeah,
No, absolutely not. And I mean, as a huge Arsenal fan, and I despise Manchester United more than
Vice
anything,
versa.
more than Tottenham, to be fair. But
Wow.
only because of the rivalry that we had growing up.
yeah,
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and from where I am from, South Africa, you've got half of South Africa support Man United, the other half support Liverpool.
Liverpool.
So, like,
Yeah,
as an
that's true.
Arsenal fan, I was the only one in my school that supported Arsenal. Everybody else
Yeah,
is either Liverpool or Man United. So I was very much like a hater, if you will, of both teams, but more so Man United, because when I was watching
They
football,
were successful.
it was Arsenal, Man United. It was Liverpool were never sort of in the equation until they won the Champions League in 2005.
Yeah,
But
Even
they
still.
were never in the equation. From a Premier League perspective, and Vidic for me was everything I wanted to be in a
He was a
defender.
warrior. He was a warrior.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was,
Absolutely
100%.
relentless, and that Serbian like grit and anger and like ferociousness that he brought when he headed the ball, when he cleared the ball, when he put in a tackle. He broke people. Like, he would put in a tackle, and the guy on the opposition would be like, okay, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah,
I'd rather pass the ball than try and take the circ. And that's what I loved about Vidic.
One of
Monet?
Ferguson's best ever signings, easily. Definitely up there.
So Iggs, you would go what? Rio Vidic would be your
I'll
centre
probably
back?
go. Obviously, when you look at the longevity as well, Vidic had an amazing career at Man United. Let's not take that away. From what,
Yeah.
2008 onwards, or 7
Yeah,
onwards when we won the league. But Terry done it the same, maybe just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit longer. And then I feel like maybe just removing the bias as well. So I'll just go Rio and Vidic, because you couldn't really go. Sorry, not Rio, Terry and Rio, because you couldn't really go Terry and Vidic, because they're quite. I wouldn't say they're very similar, but they kind of play in a quite similar style, and you needed someone like Rio Ferdinand besides one of them.
Agree.
Okay, so Candice, you going Rio and Terry
Terry.
too?
Yeah.
Stuart, the only dispute is Terry Vidic.
I'm going Terry Vidic because I'm not looking at a team that's going to play another team. So I don't need to look at gelling, and I don't need to look at who complements who. I'm looking at the best in their position at the time that they were in the Premier League. So, like, if I'm going to go with my midfield, I'm not going to necessarily pick somebody who's naturally left-footed to be on my left wing. I'm just going to pick the four best midfielders.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
So
but
I'm
I
not
think
gonna pick
longevity, like, Mona, who you going with?
Rio did go to it was the semi-final with Leeds. Rio
Yeah,
was
it
in
was
that
Leeds,
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna divide you guys because I'm gonna cause an argument here. But
if I hear
anyway.
Van Dijk, oh my god.
If you go Van Dijk, I'm gonna punch you in the head right now. But go on, come on, tell us.
Sorry
you go
about this,
Van
guys.
Dijk, I'm switching off this phone.
Yeah, I'm done.
So when we were talking, I had the same mentality of thinking as if this team was actually gonna play together, and I actually went with Van Dijk. See you guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Mone's done.
Yeah, we're done.
You're done. We're done.
Stupid.
Do you know what I'm gonna do?
Look,
no, Monet, just don't. Monet, we don't want to hear it. Rather don't.
do you guys
have
want
a
to move on?
conversation in 5 years' time, and Vidic is where I'm sorry, and Van Dijk is where he is in 5 years' time.
Yeah, I agree.
I will listen to your argument.
Me
But
too.
the dude's been around for a couple of years, man.
So when we get the episode 365, 387 or whatever,
we'll talk about him.
Bro,
Okay,
I need him
fair
to do
enough.
it for 5 years at least before I can
At
hear
least
Rio.
5 years. Yeah. Monet, done. Rio made it. There's two of us. We're not even going to listen to Van
Fine.
Dijk. Monet,
I
We
didn't
you're
want
go.
a
done.
Premier League yet.
We
Huh?
going. Well, technically, that's under dispute so far. So you
He
might
hasn't won it.
Okay,
I will
so
put my hand
Rio.
up now, and I will
I don't.
relinquish Vidic for
Yeah.
Rio if Van Dijk doesn't make the team. I'll
Yeah.
put
Okay,
Monet,
Rio
I
it
definitely.
is.
Van Dijk.
Yeah, I definitely think
It
Van
is
Dijk is brilliant or
unanimous.
whatnot. But 5 years, give it 5 years, please.
Jeez, is this even my podcast? Okay, let's just switch over. So we're going Rio and Terry with that one. That's an easy
Yeah.
pick. Nobody said any other names, of course.
No
Um,
one,
I'm
nothing at
gonna
all.
kick us off with the left back. So just to make it easy, and we can all move on to the next position. Ashley Cole. End of story.
No way,
Dennis.
no, I'm fighting you, and I actually came with receipts. I came with it. Dennis Owen was by far the best signings Alex Ferguson ever made. He said that
Doesn't
himself.
matter. I mean, how many years
No,
did he
no.
play in the Premier League?
Dennis Owen won 7 league titles. Dennis Owen scored double the amount of goals that Ashley Cole did. Dennis Owen's Premier League appearances and Ashley Cole's were just about the same, and he has double the assists. Dennis Owen was also right-footed and made that left-back position his own. Do you want me to go into any more detail about Dennis Owen? Because there is no way Ashley Cole can wipe and the ground that Dennis Owen walked on, guys.
I will ask you one question about the goals Dennis Irwin scored. How many were from the penalty spot?
In the Premier League, 4.
Only 4?
Yeah. I told you I came with receipts, guys. I went and I looked.
Okay. How many Prem titles has Dennis Irvin got, and how many has Ashley Cole got?
How many, pardon?
Premier League titles have
Dennis Owen has 7. Ashley Cole has 3.
Oh, okay.
She came with receipts.
I told you. This is when I knew I was gonna fight for. But you guys, Dennis Owen was my hero, and when Ferguson was offered Cantona, Leeds in exchange said they want Dennis Owen, and Ferguson actually told them, no, you can keep Eric Cantona because you're never going to get Dennis Owen from me. That's how important Dennis Owen was to that side.
Don't you think it's a little bit biased? Because I think if you even had to go a World 11, I think Ashley Cole would get
100%.
Very close to that left back spot.
I do, but we're talking. I do agree with that, but we're talking about a Premier League 11 now. And for me, Dennis Owen, he walks it. The fact that he's right-footed and he's actually on his weaker side.
Okay, hold on. I'm not that fussed about right-footed, left-footed, because if you're a footballer nowadays, you need to be able to play with both. But are you telling me Dennis Irwin won 7 to Ashley Cole's 3, had double the amount of goals and pretty much the similar appearances?
Yeah.
I'm going Dennis Irwin.
You got Sway Iggs. Do you wanna?
I'm sorry, stats don't lie.
Nah, like I'm looking at assists. I am looking at it right now. Dennis Irwin scored 18 goals, 25 assists. Ashley Cole scored 15 goals, 31 assists. So you can tell that it was very tight.
I have 33 times, and I wrote down the assists somewhere. And Ashley Cole had 17
Are you looking at all
goals.
competitions?
No, I went to look at Premier League because we're doing a Premier League 11.
Well, this is where, if I can interject here, I think in terms of, for me, yes, Dennis Irwin was good. It was good. He was great from the stats. That's what it looks like. But I think Ashley Cole kind of reformed that position as left back. He changed the dynamic of what a left back is.
But you could say the same about Dennis Owen in the same that he took free kicks.
No,
he
do you
took
know
penalties.
what? I'm not gonna say Ashley Cole changed it because we've always had attacking fullbacks, but Ashley Cole was amazing going forward, like a lot of the fullbacks, but he was amazing going defending. That's like his clean sheet record is for itself is higher than Dennis Irving's.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, I was reading an interview and I can actually remember it perfectly. There was one game and it was against Arsenal, and everyone will say no winger got the best of Dennis Owen, and Bergkamp took Owen for a fool that day. And in the post-match interview, the reporter asked Ferguson, what do you think about Dennis Owen's that era? And he said it's the only mistake that man made in 10 years. So it doesn't even bother me. And that was it. There was not a winger that could get past Dennis Owen on a day. And Bergkamp did it once in 10 years.
And then also remember, Ashley Cole was part of the Arsenal 03-04 invincible season.
Yeah, that's also true. He was part.
Correct.
But Dennis Owen was part of a treble-winning team, and he played over 50 games that season.
But as you said, though, we're talking about Premier
Yeah,
League.
we're talking about Premier League. Yeah, but Man United won more Premier League games in the treble-winning season than Arsenal won in the invincible season. They won
That's true,
more games.
but
They conceded less goals.
Yeah, but it's about losing. Let's just be clear on what invincibles mean. It's
yeah.
But let's also be clear on goal.
Won 2 games and drew 36.
That's
did
fine.
Not lose what?
But
how long?
But if we want to talk about it, then we must. He conceded less goals in the treble-winning league.
True.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna put Ashley Cole and Dennis Owen together for now.
I have to put.
I think we need to put an asterisk there.
Yeah,
and you know what the worst is? You're gonna do a poll, and the majority of people who will vote won't remember further than 10 years, and they're gonna vote Ashley Cole.
We'll go later.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, Liam, like, no disrespect, but how old are you, buddy?
I'm 25.
Yeah.
I will.
25.
Don't worry, Iggs. I will
you're
edit that
looking at,
out
like,
of the podcast.
I know, but like, you only started watching like soccer, like probably like
not started
when
watching,
Dennis
but
Owen was
remember
in his last year, or
Probably,
like,
yeah. The thing about me though is I'm a historian in sports, so I like to.
Yeah, me too.
I like to go back on the greats and other players before my time. Like, I'm a big fan of basketball, football, so there's certain players I'll talk about. Like, you'll be like, how do you even know about it? Was you there? I'm like, no, I just done my research and just watched about them and stuff. But yeah, I understand what you're saying though. When you do the poll, a lot of the people don't really have much knowledge going back past their time with sports and football.
They're just gonna see a name that they recognize and go, "Oh yeah, no, he was good." Boom.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I don't know who that oak is.
Yeah.
No.
I'm also gonna say Ian Wright picked Dennis Owen in his Premier League 11, and I love Ian Wright, and I respect Ian Wright's opinion.
Okay, fair. So we'll put an asterisk and we'll come back.
Gary Neville picked in his Premier League 11.
Yeah, but Gary Neville. Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
Who did he pick?
Exactly. Courtois.
Yeah.
Who?
Courtois.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he did.
Do you know what? Moving on. That's a great segue because I was gonna mention right backs, but now I don't think I want to.
Yeah, Gary Neville is the right. Yeah, Gary Neville. Me and Stuart actually spoke about Gary Neville the other day, and Gary Neville wasn't the most talented at all.
But he done his job.
He worked his ass off every single day to be as good as the rest of his teammates, and yeah, Gary Neville was my right back.
You know what it is, yeah, right back. I remember it was between two, and I didn't really mind whichever way it went. But I said myself, in the little spell that he had in that club, Branislav Ivanovic, I really, really rated him as a right back.
Ivanovic was also on my list. Yeah, I also had him, and I had Zabaleta as well. But then Stuart spoke.
I had Ivanovic over that because I was watching Zabaleta at West Ham and it made me vomit. So I had to put I had to put Ivanovic. He was so crucial for Chelsea.
I think talent-wise, Ivanovic definitely, out of all of them, was the most talented right back. And if we're going to go on in that, because I mean, Gary Neville, I love Gary Neville. Gosh, he loves the club more than most of us. But Gary Neville wasn't the best right back in the world, but he was resilient and he brought that sense of passion to the game that is, you don't get that in many other players. But yeah, I have to argue this one. If you want to go Zabaleta, I definitely go with that one too.
I can't look at
I can't look at a Premier League team and not have Gary Neville in it. As much as I'm not a
Yeah,
Man
that's why I
United
wouldn't.
fan,
That's
Yeah,
why I
that's
wouldn't
also
argue.
I
yeah,
can't fathom
yeah.
not having Gary Neville in my team.
Gary Neville's on my page, but I agree. I I would say Gary Neville, but if you want to go with someone else, I wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Well, Liam had a like good point with Ivanovic, and I'm a big admirer of Ivanovic also. Not to be biased, obviously being a Chelsea fan,
Yeah.
best team in the
He
world.
had a
But
big bum.
You know what? But
Monet.
Monet,
Whoever
bias
said that, that's very true.
But Monet, bias does come into it because you obviously watch your team more than other teams.
yeah, true.
Of
Yes and
course.
no. But I think like Gary Neville is like you all said. Gary Neville wasn't the most talented at his position, but you know what? He was the most reliable person I
Of
can
course.
think of.
Yeah.
Like he no matter who he came up against, he always made it difficult for them. If the person was quicker than him, he gave himself space. If
Yeah.
he knew the
Smart.
person didn't have a good first touch, he was on top of them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can see it the way he analyzes, like he does Monday Night Football, the way he
Mm-hmm.
analyzes games. You just
He's
think
smart.
that's how he was on the football field, and that's what he saw around him. So I
Yeah,
think
no,
like
his
So,
punditry is second to none.
yeah, Gary Neville's has a really smart football brain. I just don't think his legs always worked how his mind did. But if we want to go,
he's not built for football. Like if you look
do you
at
know?
the
No,
art,
it's
he's
not.
just not built for football.
Do you know what I think though?
Who's
And I
that?
think one of the best
Gary
things with
Neville.
Gary, yeah, no, one of the best things with Gary Neville was he knew when he had enough. He knew he can remember the exact moment in the exact game when he said, "This is it. My
Oh,
legs
when he
don't
got
do it
turned like
anymore."
18 times
Yeah,
by that.
and he
I
was
think
like, but
wasn't it?
at least he admitted it to himself and to everyone else. That was it. Some people try and overplay or they go play in League One. Gary never wanted to finish at the top club, the club he loved, at the level he loved, and he didn't go and play in the championship or overseas in the MLS or anything like that. He wanted to finish at the top of his game.
Fair enough. Would you call him a one club man?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, of
What
course.
else
He
can you
was,
call
yeah.
him? He is a one club
But
man. What else can we call
I
him?
know, but like for some reason, like he's never mentioned in the same breath as like the RB and
Yeah,
West
he
Ham
never
and all other places. Lampard and went to
City.
MLS and then came back and played for City and then scored against Chelsea.
thank you for reminding me.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
if
well.
Imune didn't need that remind, yeah, okay. But so I take it for a game with Neville.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's unanimous. And Stuart, can you turn around? Anyway, moving on to midfield. Stuart, do you want to give us our first midfielder?
What, central?
Yeah. Well, again, I think I've gone 4-4-2, but not in like a traditional left wing, right wing, whatever. I've just gone 4 midfielders.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be looking at left wings and right.
Just give
So,
one, Stuart.
I'm going to go Vieira, just as an Arsenal
Yeah.
fan. I think Patrick was the backbone of Arsenal during our most incredible sort of 3, 4, 5 years of I'm not saying like we dominated the Premier League, but we either won it or became very close to winning it against a very difficult United team in the same era. And I think his battles with Roy Keane, I think his going forward from a midfield perspective. I mean, he wasn't renowned for scoring goals. He has scored some extravagant goals, but he was just a driving force of an Arsenal team that was always told were trying, to skillful and pass the ball too much and not enough aggression or whatever. And he was just that type of person. And if I could have even a tenth of a Patrick Vieira in the Arsenal team now, just to show a little bit of fight and aggression, I would be quite happy.
I have no doubt. Liam, do you wanna either concur or go against that?
Do you want to just give all 4, and then we can go?
I want to hear
think we
all
need to
4.
give all 4.
I want to hear
I
all
think
4. So I
Go.
can.
Okay.
Stuart, go with all 4.
Okay, so I went Vieira, I went Scholes, I went Lampard, and I went Gerrard. And
Nah, you can't play that. You cannot
yeah,
play that. You
I
can't
can,
play
I
that.
can.
You can't.
I-
You can't. You can't.
Like I
I
said,
had
like I said at the start, I'm not playing a 11 that's going to play another team. I'm
No,
yeah,
playing
yeah,
the
but
best
that's how you have to
midfielders
pick it, though. You
in.
can't.
yeah. I went three. I had a formation of 4-3-3 because I kind of did think about if they had to play, and I had Lampard, Vieira, and Keane in my midfield.
Whoa!
So you got a Vieira and
You
Keane.
can't. You can't have Vieira and Keane. You can never leave out Scholes. Please, please, please,
Yeah,
please.
you cannot leave out
I did only I did Roy Keane, another one who, like Vieira, complete backbone of English football. Roy Keane had it all, and Roy Keane did it all. A bit of an asshole, but
So Candace,
world.
if you guys were playing, how would they play? Like in like a triangle, kind of, with Vieira and Keane sitting and Lampard
Yeah,
above?
and Lampard just a little bit ahead. Or if I had to play a straight three, I'd have Vieira in the middle, Keane on the right, Lampard on the left.
Okay, you see what's the difficult bit with the midfield one was for me was it was very difficult to look at because in an ideal world, I would want to say the three English guys: Lampard, Scholes, Gerrard. Obviously, but it's
Fabinho didn't play
difficult.
well.
No, but not just because of that. But it's difficult to leave out someone like Vieira and what he's done for Arsenal.
Yeah, 100%. And what he
But
did for
then,
Arsenal it's
yeah.
unprecedented.
But then you have to look at the fact when you look at players like this is the debate everyone always has Frank Lampard and Gerrard. I think we've all come to the conclusion that Scholes must be in the team. He has to be. He's one of the
I
greatest
agree.
midfielders of our generation. Even the best midfielders
I won't
that
argue.
people say now, even the best people say that midfielders now, like Xavi, Scholes, and they all said
Yeah,
Scholes is the greatest midfielder, so he
yeah,
has to
Zidane
be
said
in
it.
it. Zidane, a lot of players have said it.
Yeah.
Like, so he would have to be in it. But then the decision when it comes to Lampard and Gerrard is just on preference because when you look
Leaving
at
Scholes out was the most difficult decision.
yeah, you can't.
I'm
When you
so
look at
shocked
it,
as a Man United
I'm
fan.
gonna give you my reasons why I left Gerrard out though, and I'm not.
I think I
I've never been a
understand why
fan.
you left him out.
Gerrard is a continental player. Gerrard never did as well in the Premier League as Gerrard did in the Champions League.
Do you know what?
If I had a Champions League 11, Gerrard would be in my Champions League 11.
Do you know what? Gerrard, yeah, his Premier League, he had a really good career with Liverpool in the league. It just he couldn't get it done over the line. I think we
Yeah,
all understand that Lampard was the superior player in the Premier
100%.
League. But I mean, the thing when you're talking about who you're going to pick is when you look at the situation, do you not see it as well? Obviously, Gerrard is the better player technically and ability wise.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Ability,
do you not look
definitely.
at it and say, was
But
Lampard's success based off what
yeah,
Chelsea done as well? And would Gerrard have done the same in that team?
yeah. But also, what we said is if we're going back and we're looking at a Premier League 11, Lampard was the better Premier League player.
Yeah.
Gerrard was definitely a continental player. Gerrard did when it came to
But
Champions
that's
League
because
games.
Chelsea
Gerrard
was
would
shit
be
in Europe.
yeah, no, but Gerrard was built for those Champions League games. A lot of people say Gerrard played with terrible players around him. He had Alonso, he had Mascherano, he had Didi Hamann. Gerrard had good players around him. But I just feel Premier League wise, if we're looking at a Premier League 11, Gerrard wouldn't make my 11. But if I had to look at a Champions League, I'm not saying overall Champions League because that's really pushing it, but Champions League 11 of the last 20 years, Gerrard would probably walk into it. But
I don't know about walking into it. I don't think so because remember Barcelona, innit? Remember Barcelona?
Yeah. That whole Barcelona
my
side, yeah, that whole Barcelona side. Thank you. There's 11. But yeah, so
I'm
that's
sorry,
the reason
Busquets
I
is
picked.
not even coming near my team.
So are we gonna confirm that we go with Vieira and Lampard definitely?
Wait. I'm definitely I am confirming Scholes and I'm confirming Vieira. Lampard and Gerrard is up to discussion. Whatever way people want to take it, I am all for it. I don't mind.
I would go with Stuart then. Stuart, except I would have Keane instead of Gerrard. So I'd have Keane, Vieira, Lampard,
Oh my
Scholes.
God. You can't have Keane. You can't have
Liam.
Keane here and not have Lampard or Gerrard. I can't have
Liam,
I can't.
who was your midfield? Your midfield
Yeah,
2
please
or 3,
tell us.
Liam?
My midfield 3, Vieira, Scholes, and You know, guys know I love Lamp. I prefer Lamps than Gerrard because he just won more. But I have to give it to Gerrard. Lampard, take it. Lampard. No, actually, no. Gerrard, no. Gerrard.
Lampard.
Gerrard,
No,
he was the captain as well. It's Gerrard.
So Gerrard. And Lampard
I'm
was
looking at ability. No, Lampard was a captain type, but he was tearing it.
But
So
Liam,
We have to. When I look at, I think Gerrard meant so much more to the team Liverpool than Lampard meant to Chelsea.
so as
I
it
don't think so.
stands,
I think Lampard was. I think after Terry Lampard were those first two names on the team sheet every week, without a doubt. Whatever manager they had, Terry and Lampard were it. But if you're saying, but Liam,
Gerrard wasn't the only.
No, obviously, but what Liam's saying now is his game.
Even came out.
But what Liam's saying now, his game with ability and ability. When we talk about Gary Neville and Zabaleta, we knew Zabaleta's ability was better.
Yeah, but but then the thing is, there was no one that was close to. See what I know what you're trying to do here, but when you talk about Scholes and when you talk about Gerrard and Lampard, it's not the same light as when you're talking about Zabaleta and Gary.
No, but it's different positions. Yeah, but different positions. But I know what you mean. Yeah, so Vieira's a definite. The game with Vieira. Vieira's definite. Monet, did you have Vieira?
Scholes is a definite.
Scholes is an absolute.
Okay, I don't mind. We can put Scholes in too. It's not gonna bother me.
Okay, so
he needs to get shots.
Here was mine. So I went Vieira, Frank Lampard, and Steven Gerrard. I left out Scholes.
I can't. I understand, but I don't. No.
So in terms, there was always this debate whether Lamps and Gerrard could play together, but you guys just kind of sussed it out. One was a better player in the Premier League, one was better continental player. And then I need a destroyer, for lack of a better word, in the midfield.
Hold on.
Guys, Roy Keane was fundamental. Roy Keane was fundamental.
Listen,
but better than Vieira, so Vieira's in. Scholes is
Vieira's in.
Vieira's Scholes in. That's a given. Now there's four of us. Hold on, there's four of us, and it's between Lampard and Gerrard. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Gerrard.
So what are we doing? Are we putting?
I agree with Vieira and Scholes.
Okay, so Vieira.
I agree with the arguments that everybody, and then when we go with the last pick, so it's a toss-up between Lampard and Gerrard.
I'm going Gerrard.
Wait, Lampard. It has to be, guys. Lampard it's a Premier League 11. How can you pick someone who never won the Premier League title over someone? You guys, I'm done. You cannot.
You know what?
You know what?
On that note, I'm giving it to. Just because you said that, on that note, I'm giving it to
Lampard.
Just because you said it like that.
The man.
So here's my Chelsea fandom coming out. Lampard is Gerrard the top scorer for Liverpool of all time?
Yes.
I don't think is he.
No, he
Lampard's
is.
No, he's not.
He's not.
Fowler is.
Lampard isn't Lampard the third top goal assist or something in the Premier League history? Like Lampard, guys.
He is.
Lampard is the third or fourth top goal scorer in Premier League history.
I do have. Hold on. I wrote down some stats. In the Premier League, Lampard had 177 goals. Gerrard had 120. Lampard had 102 assists. Gerrard had 92. Lampard had 43 penalties, and Gerrard had 32. So about 10 different. And then again, Lampard won the league title and did not dive when he needed to get penalties. So.
Yes. You just being biased against.
I'm not. Okay. I told you, Gerrard would go in my Champions League 11, but a Premier League 11, you cannot leave Lampard out of it. I don't think Gerrard deserves to be in a Premier League 11.
Okay, fine.
I think
would you put Lampard, hold on, Candice, would you put Lampard before you put Scholes?
Lampard before I picked?
Scholes.
I did, and it was difficult because I picked Keane.
Okay,
but if we're not going to go with Keane, then we'll go with, because I don't think Scholes and Lampard and Gerrard should be. Scholes should never be considered to Lampard and Gerrard. If I would always I always only looked at Lampard and Gerrard against each other. Scholes was a couple of years ahead.
Scholes, yeah. You see with Scholes, I think people need to understand. Exactly. You see with Scholes, yeah. People need to with him. You take away the what you call it, the stats, because the way he played football where he controlled the games. He made, like, you look at Pirlo's stats, you're not gonna see worldwide goals or assists.
Full post goals, yeah.
But people are gonna acknowledge the influence he had in the game, the way he controlled the game. Because he was 10 steps ahead of everyone else, allowed Man United to function this way. Allowed the ball to move to players in this direction, in this speed. Like, that was his job, and he done it at an extremely high level. Especially once he got older as well. His legs started to go, but his brain was always there.
He came out of retirement and he still walked back into that side. So I'm not going to go against Scholes at all. It's because I had Vieira and Keane, I didn't have Scholes. But I don't mind if we take Keane out. No, but I mean, okay, if we're looking, why you can't? You just said your midfield is any four.
Yeah, but then I got bounced, so you getting bounced.
Okay.
Well, that midfield four is not happening. I'm not having it.
Yeah. So okay. Well, then I think it should be Lampard, Vieira, and Scholes.
Lampard, Vieira, and Scholes. I think
I could go with that.
I think I just want to go.
I can go with that.
Yeah,
I want people to acknowledge, though, in a sense of overall complete package as a midfielder, Gerrard was the best because he could defend. He could get forward, back. They couldn't defend like Gerrard. Gerrard, you could put in defensive midfielder in his latter years, and he would do a decent job there.
Yeah.
I just think we need to look at the times or at the players Gerrard played with, like when he was like the main midfield guy for Liverpool in the Premier League. You're looking at, he had Babel when he was a kid. He had Cinnamon Pongal as a striker.
We had Ryan Babel.
He didn't start like that.
Yeah, come on. He had Michael Owen with him. He had Michael Owen. Come on now,
Fernando Torres, Fowler.
Exactly.
He had Owen like for a brief period, and then
Owen. No, he didn't. He had Owen for most of it. Not brief. Stuart, it was not brief.
He had Owen for about 3-4 years.
Yeah, it was not brief.
That's brief in Premier League.
He had Xabi Alonso
his best
and Mascherano next to him.
Alonso.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he meant Xabi Alonso.
But that's another midfielder. I'm talking about like for like assists and help going forward.
Fernando Torres.
I don't think he had nearly as much as what Chelsea's had over the years with John.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He actually didn't. Liverpool's team was never better than Chelsea's from 2006 to probably 2014.
Yeah, but let's just put in, like, we had the Fernando Torres era where he was the go-to guy, right? Then you had an era where Gerrard was still playing, where he had Suarez, Sterling, Sturridge, which was
he's had numbers.
Wait.
They didn't stay long.
I'm not saying.
Hold
I'm
on.
not saying.
Why are we still arguing? Did we not just agree on Lampard, Vieira, and Scholes?
Yeah, we're just going on the discussion of Gerrard.
Okay.
Give a little bit of a mention to Gerrard, because if anybody's going to listen to this, they must know that we are not just discarding Gerrard.
No, we're not just discarding him, but if we're looking at it,
he's the first replacement. He's the first sub.
Yeah, he's definitely him and Keane are our first midfield subs.
Okay, we're gonna throw in Keane there.
Yeah, put a third way Keane. Really, Roy Keane? And nah, guys.
If I've got Vieira, I don't need another Keane.
I like Keane, but come on, man. Come on.
I think Vieira was a little bit more. The only difference, I think Vieira was a little bit more attack-minded or sulky. There was a little bit of that French kind of flair about him.
Yeah, he was.
I just think Vieira was a nice person. He treated his teammates as equals and said hi and bye to them.
Okay, we're not picking people on nice people because then some of these are never gonna make the side. Okay, so let's not pick the nice 11 because none of these people are making a nice 11 side, unless then you're Dennis Owen.
A nice guy.
Yeah, and Lampard may be Owen, but John Terry is not making a nice 11.
I mean, okay.
What do you John Terry?
I'm not going to be saying John Terry.
John Terry's done too much.
So we're going with 4-3-3 as well then, obviously.
So as we go on, Liam, give me your front three first, and then we'll.
I have a feeling we'll be.
Okay, I've got so many alternatives to this, and I'm ready to argue some of them. I don't mind. So
Okay.
I have a feeling we're gonna have similar, but let's see. I have a feeling.
I'm going with. It's tough, you know. I'm going with Ronaldo, Aguero, Henry.
Okay, I had. Oh gosh, I had.
Ronaldo never played in the Premier League.
Yeah,
Cristiano.
Cristiano.
No,
See ya.
he doesn't exist as a Ronaldo.
Come
There's
on.
only fat
So
Ronaldo that exists.
I did think about Ronaldo, but then I thought he wasn't as great in the Premier League as he was in La Liga.
Oh,
And yeah,
for me, it just
agree.
makes.
So I had Henry, Giggs, and Rooney.
Get Giggs out of there. Get Giggs out of there.
Never. You can never. You can, guys.
Sorry.
How can you have a Premier League 11 without Mr. Premier League himself?
How can you have a Premier League 11 without
Gareth
one
Barry
of the
has
best
more
players
appearances
ever?
than Giggs, so I'll put that in there.
How can you have a Premier League? How can you have a Premier League 11 without one of the best players in the world?
It was Henry, Giggs, and Rooney, or Henry, Giggs, and Ronaldo. But I went with Rooney because I thought Rooney was a better Premier League player than Ronaldo overall.
Because he was there longer.
Yeah, exactly. But we're looking at Premier League 11. I'd never pick Rooney over Ronaldo in a World 11. But
Ronaldo
and I'd never.
Needs to go.
But again, how can you? Guys, Ryan Giggs is going to be the first person in the Hall of Fame. Ryan Giggs was voted #1 Premier League player of all time by all managers and all previous players. How can you not have Ryan Giggs in a Premier League 11?
Do you know why?
He reinvented. And Ryan Giggs is an asshole. Let's not get me wrong.
But how can
Giggs tell us?
He's a one-man club. Remember, I'm a Man United fan, and I'm talking like this as well. He's a one-man club, and he played 20 years in the Prem, and he won 11, 12 titles. Of course, they're gonna.
Let's not get me wrong.
But how can
Giggs tell us?
Remember, I'm a Man United fan, and I'm talking like this as well. He's a one-man club, and he played 20 years in the Prem, and he won 11, 12 titles. Of course, they're gonna.
Yeah,
look
I get
at him
that,
and
but
think he should be like in the Premier League Team of the Year. But
how many players reinvent themselves after losing their speed and their years? Ryan Giggs in the late 20s, people thought he was done, and he reinvented himself.
Yeah, he did. But I wouldn't say
he did. And
say
some of his best seasons were after that reinvention. I think you're too young to remember Ryan Giggs in his prime. Because Ryan Giggs, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but Ryan Giggs in his prime, running down that wing was like...
The thing is, I've had a look at Giggs a long time. I've respected him as well as a player. But I've had a lot of discussions about him, and he didn't, as a left winger, he didn't fill the stats. He didn't score enough goals. He never created that many goals as a left winger in the Premier League.
I do agree with that. I don't mean just the Premier League. I think overall in all his games, not just the Premier League. But he adapted, and I feel that someone that's 38 years old playing in a side that was Manchester United, he adapted to that. At 38 years old, he ended playing for Manchester United, and I don't think any other player could have that consistency for over 20 years at a top football club.
But when he reinvented himself as a central midfielder, not as a winger.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying he still reinvented himself. A lot of players can't do that. They don't have the football brains to move into the middle.
But if we're putting him as a winger, his best season out wide. We're playing 4-3-3.
I'm putting 4-3-3.
Yeah, so you're putting him as a winger.
Well, I actually had if I took Rooney or Ronaldo.
Oh my goodness! As a winger, yeah, as a goal-scoring threat, a creator of goals, Giggs was never all that.
I just don't feel every
Premier
League player, every Premier League player manager can't be wrong. Like, guys.
He had the one solo goal that everybody will remember.
Yeah,
Guys,
yeah,
we're
against
not talking
Arsenal.
about that. No,
Oh, but
no,
not- yeah.
no.
FA Cup though. That was FA Cup
FA
though.
Cup semi-final 99. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
all seen it. Well done. And he
Best
babooned
goal
himself
of my
across
life.
the touchline.
We
That's
named
cool.
Monet. We named my brother after that goal.
Yeah, that means nothing. Your brother was born in 2000 and fucking
Yeah,
7.
but that's what we knew. If I had a son, we were gonna name Ryan. My mother ended up having a boy. Hey, look there. We're just gonna push it along. Came sooner than expected.
So
Okay, no, Ryan. I mean, I love Ryan Kinnear. Ryan Giggs is a lot of money.
Stewart,
Liam,
go
quick
on.
question.
Yes.
Why did you leave Henri out?
I didn't. I said
He
I
didn't.
didn't.
Oh, did you have Henri? Oh, did you have Henri?
Yeah,
Oh,
of
okay.
course. Of
Yeah,
course.
Oh,
You went
Yeah,
I was
Henri.
like,
I mean,
whoa. Yeah,
This
we have to
Henri,
have
study
Henri.
Ronaldo,
started
and
me
Aguero.
over if Henri wasn't in the team. I would never speak to anybody again if Henri wasn't in this.
Monet, did you have Henri?
So before I go with mine, Stewart, I'm not even gonna mention. I wrote Henri next to your name anyway.
On my
Henri
left. He's on my left.
cutting in, absolutely.
Yeah.
The person on my right cutting in would be Rooney, and the person up
Yeah,
front
I had
banging in the goals would be Shearer.
Robin van Persie.
And I don't care what anybody says, the guy scored the most Premier League goals out
Yeah.
of anybody. Nobody's going to catch him because I think he retired from the Premier League with 50 yard behind him. Aguero's like, I don't know, 80 yard behind him.
No.
The only person that could.
No,
Yeah.
Aguero's past Wayne Rooney.
Aguero's quite close. Yeah, Aguero's close.
Aguero has done it in 7 seasons.
Okay, Aguero's not going to catch him, number one.
Yeah, because he
He's not
doesn't
gonna
want to
catch
stay in
it.
England that
Well,
long.
we're never gonna play football again. Number one.
Aguero's got what, 2-3 years max left in him, and unless he scores, I don't know, 30 goals a season, which he hasn't ever, because he's only had 1 Golden Boot
Wait. I
in
hope
his entire
Oh, my
career.
goodness. You know,
Okay,
Aguero's
so
got
wait,
the
I looked
best
it up.
goal to game ratio in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because the man's always injured.
Aguero's on 180 when Rooney. Aguero's on 180 goals when Rooney is okay. It's Aguero 180, Andy Cole 187, Wayne Rooney 208, Alan Shearer 260.
Yeah, nobody's catching Shearer. I'm sorry.
Rooney's assists
And-
are better than all of theirs.
I couldn't care less. You look at Shearer as a striker. I'm talking about my striker. And
Yeah,
for somebody to score, how many was it? 260?
260. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
Wayne Rooney had a longer
goals.
career, so Alan
Hold on,
Shearer did
hold
it
on,
in a
hold
shorter time.
Hold on. You look at the team that he played for to score
Yeah,
these
I agree.
260 goals. He played
What do you mean the team that-
Southampton before
Whoa.
Premier League, then Blackburn.
Stuart,
then
those teams
Newcastle.
were really
that
good
Blackburn
back then.
team was really good that
and
then,
so was the Newcastle team
until like 2004 or 5.
until
won't
they
say
blew
that.
up
Okay.
that league.
Hold on.
I
Name,
won't say the
name
Yeah.
the midfielders of the Newcastle team where Shearer got his assists from. Because I'm
Thriller.
thinking Lauren Robert, I'm thinking Norberto Solano, I'm thinking.
But Stuart,
Gary-
at that
What's
time,
that? John
but-
Ola?
Yeah, do you know, at Stuart, that time, that Newcastle team was incredible. I'm not saying
Thriller.
anything wrong about Shearer, but you're
Because
right.
of Shearer.
I'm not saying anything wrong with Shearer, but you're really not giving that Newcastle team enough credit.
Did
But
they
I
have the
wouldn't-
scolds to
But
to
can you
provide
not
assists?
understand? Aguero has scored 180 in 260 games.
My man.
Like
That's
you
pretty
get-
impressive.
All right,
he
guys.
scored
Before
one
we
of the most iconic goals in the Premier League history that broke
Yeah.